So this award is an accreditation. It's like a kite mark, if you like. And that means that as an organisation, Visit West is one of those bodies that is accredited or awarded by Visit England to enable us to represent the destinations and the businesses in Bath and the west of England, to enable them routes to market, so sales opportunities, campaign opportunities, training opportunities and business support that they may not get otherwise through Visit England.
How is tourism recovering?
It's interesting because recovery in Bath has been really positive in some cases, and what we've seen is a pendulum swinging, if you imagine. So going back to when nobody could travel overseas from within the UK, Bath was one of the destinations that really benefited. So we saw a big surge in people coming here to stay, and staying for longer, more importantly, and people who may not have come here before. Those decisions were sometimes being made quite late in the day. As we start to see our international visits returning, particularly last year, the boom in the North American market, so that's the USA, Canada, also the emergence of Australia, and the start of the return of some of the European markets. So we're sort of seeing that pendulum swinging from all domestic to a lot of international, and it will start to settle down. This year is the year that we think it will start to settle down. So some businesses are recovering well. It's not the same for all, because those businesses, particularly who were reliant on the Asian market and the China market in particular, of course those visitors aren't returning at the same level at the moment. They can't. And so that market will start to come back towards the end of this year, next year.
What will you guys be doing to encourage people to stay longer? I mean, Bath likes its day trippers, but it would rather have people staying 1 or 2 nights.
So there's a number of things that we've been doing, one of which is one of our strong partnerships is with GWR. So there is a rail ticket that enables people to have a set rate, travelling in on a Friday and out on a Monday. So it makes financial sense and it makes it easy for people to travel. So there's some practical things that have been happening. Some of this is also around itinerary development. So itinerary development is where we work with operators in the background, so the professional travel trade who put together programs for some people domestically and others internationally about how they create the breakaway. So as you say, rather than coming in and doing a day trip, how it's easier to spend a couple of days here based on the sheer volume of things there are to do, and also to base themselves in Bath and explore a bit more. So going out into Bradford-on-Avon, going to Frome, going out in other places in Wiltshire and Somerset, into Bristol and beyond. So it's encouraging people not just to come in and do a short trip, do Bath city centre and go again. It's about exploring the wider region and making sure that we work with the influencers and the partnerships who have the capacity to share that information as well.
The weather so far this year has been foul, but looking around today, there seems to be a real buzz to the city again. Certainly, I've been watching the coaches coming into this area, one after the other. It's got to be a good sign, surely.
I think it is a good sign, and as I said, that international recovery, and because Bath is iconic, one of our, the thing for us is about making sure that people visit now, and not say, actually, well, I was thinking of Bath, but it will still be there and it will still look the same next year or later on this year. It's about finding those motivations that make people want to visit now that's really important. And what we want to do though is it's not just a Friday to Monday. We need to make this 7 days a week, 52 weeks of the year. So there's a lot of investment that also goes into developing that business events market. So conferences, meetings as well.
Every time I meet you, I ask the same question. I'm going to ask it again because I still get people emailing my blog asking, why is it Bath doesn't have a tourist information centre? Is there any possibility that any sort of service might be established in the future?
There have been conversations, and there are ongoing conversations about what this might look like for the future. And I think one of the things that has happened historically is there is one place that you would expect people to go to, and I think we can be better than that. And it's about having a network of information points that enable people to find information where they are. Bath has got, through the Business Improvement District, has got its ambassadors who are great and they greet at the station. But I do take people's point Bath is a great city for visitors year round. It is something we're aware of. This is simply an output and an outcome of the impact of the cost of the pandemic. And we're not there's nothing else. That's what it was. And so we're looking now and we're talking to partners about how we can create a service for the future.
Oh, that sounds encouraging. One other point, Manchester has become, it's very busy here today. Manchester has become the first city to introduce a tourist tax. How soon is Bath and Bristol going to follow suit?
Well, interestingly, what Manchester hasn't got is a tourist tax. It's actually an accommodation business improvement district. And so that ABID runs along the same principles that the business improvement districts do in Bath and Bristol at the moment. It's been presented as a visitor levy because while the business remains responsible for paying that levy, it's being passed on to the customer. At the moment in Bath and the same in Bristol, bids exist and do a fantastic job in terms of creating event programmes, cleanliness and everything else. That is what the Manchester bid is. The difference is the cost is being passed on to the customer.
Well, putting it another way, how soon might Bath and Bristol lead the way with a tourist tax?
Well, you need primary legislation to do that. One of the things that we want to do is make sure it's fair, because that's really important. So at the moment, a visitor, particularly an international visitor and a domestic visitor, will pay 20% VAT on all of their hospitality. That's the second highest rate of VAT on hospitality in Europe, behind only Denmark. So most places that have, it's always said that you have a tourist tax overseas. I pay it overseas. Why shouldn't I pay it here? It's to do with VAT rates. It's to do with the fact there's no primary legislation. And if you do have, if there was a tourist tax, which the current government say that they're not interested in introducing, obviously consultation has been underway in Wales, it has to be the right thing at the right time for the right reasons. This is about supporting development of the visitor economy, and at the moment we can't lead the way and introduce a tax because it requires primary legislation. And also I think there are things that we can do collectively within the region to help support that doesn't necessarily need a hypothecated tax.
Like how?
Like working in partnership. There's a lot of partnership working that goes on at the moment, and hopefully this local visitor economy partnership accreditation is the start of that.